This podcast was produced by OAR FM Dunedin with support from New Zealand On Air.
Welcome to Disabled Persons Assembly's Notable Radio Show. DPA is a systemic advocacy organisation run by and for disabled people. DPA is a pan-impaired organisation with members across the country. Over the next half hour, we'll discover how we can work collaboratively to achieve inclusion for all New Zealanders. DPA's Notable Radio Show, a whole new attitude.
Kia ora, this is Amy Taylor. I'm your host at DPA Notable Radio. In today's show, we're going to have a bit of fun. I thought we've been serious for way too long. So on the table in front of me are a number of fidget toys. Now, if you don't know what a fidget toy is, it's a toy, a small object that gives you some kind of sensory experience when you fiddle with it. So, well, that sounds altogether dodgy. It's not at all, I promise. These things are a bit for children, a bit for adults. We all can enjoy them. And it occurred to me that some members of our community might not be able to access what a fidget toy actually is before they purchase them. So, for instance, you're blind. These things often come packaged, so you don't know what you're buying. And if a fidget toy doesn't give you a sensory experience that you enjoy, well, then perhaps it was a bit of a waste of time owning it. So I'm going to have a bit of a go at audio description. Now, for those of you who don't know, audio description is a way of making physical things that sighted people can observe are accessible to the blind community. So it's basically exactly what it says, using audio to describe an object. I'm no specialist in audio description. We have a couple of really good audio describers in Aotearoa, New Zealand, including Judith Jones, and she works at Te Papa, and she gives some wonderful tours on audio description. We also have Nikki Owens, who is in Auckland, and she's also very well known in the community for her audio description skills. So today we have these toys in front of me, for want of a better word, and I am going to have a go at describing them for you, and perhaps even those of them that do have an auditory element to it, we can put them near the microphone and see whether you can actually hear what you have to say, what they have to say, rather. So the first thing that I have in front of me is what they call a shapeshifter toy. So my daughter's one happens to be red. It's made of perspex. It is got a number of interconnecting parts, so in a sort of network or web, and they're overlapping, and when you push it in one direction, you can squeeze it into a circle shape, and when you push it in the other direction, it becomes like this oblong oval. And it's so it's made up of a series of essentially diamonds. And yeah, it's a perspex toy, but it gives us sort of like movement in your hands that you can feel. And it does make a bit of a noise, not much of one, but I'm putting it right up to the microphone, so perhaps you can actually hear it. And it's a really satisfying experience, but it honestly doesn't do much more than, elongate and turn into a circle. But it's fun. The next thing that I have in front of me, I don't know whether perhaps you can't even hear that. This is a Nido Nice Cube. I don't know whether anybody knows what a Nido Nice Cube is. It's a squishy, essentially. It's a squishy sensory toy. But the gel, or whatever it is inside it, is actually really, really firm. And it's in a sort of cube shape, and you can sort of massage it in your hands. And it gives a really nice, satisfying feeling. Again, my daughter has chosen one of the pinky red variety. And you can see little bubbles inside it too, which is kind of satisfying. So you squish it and you can make it into kind of like a flat kind of pancakey shape, and then it regains its shape. The one key thing with these is that it's really not recommended that you heat them or cool them. While the texture of the slime inside it does change with temperature. If there have been reports of children really having very, very serious burn injuries by heating these things in the microwave. So don't do that. But that does give a very, very satisfying experience, a very firm squish, if you will. And then I have something that they call a monkey noodle. And, well, it looks like a noodle, essentially. It looks like a very thick piece of spaghetti. And so it's a long, thin rubber tube, essentially, but it's solid. It's not tube insofar as there's no hole that goes right through the middle. And it's really, really elastic, so you can pull it and it snaps back. But because it's made of kind of soft rubbery stuff, it doesn't hurt when it snaps back. So it's kind of quite satisfying. It does make a bit of a noise, but again, I don't even know whether the microphone can pick that up. You can tie it in knots. The downside is if you tie it in knots, you might not be able to get it undone. This is a really cheap fidget toy. Like, you get them in sort of multi-packs of a lot, but it is still really, really, really satisfying. I quite enjoy fiddling with them. And you can wrap them around your wrist and flick them. And, so I guess the point of sensory toys for a lot of people is a bit of focus. And some of them are quiet and some of them are quite noisy. So people report that their focus is increased with this kind of repetitive motion. And so the thing that I have right now is this is a Zuru product. It's a fidget cube and it's tiny. It's about sort of a 2 centimetre square cube. And again, it's pink. Why were you not surprised? But they come in all sorts of colours. And every side of the cube has all these different sort of fiddling options, if you will. Like there's a ball bearing which you can roll with your fingers, and it doesn't make any noise, but it's quite satisfying. You can feel the cold of the metal of the ball bearing, and it's kind of embedded in the cube, if you will. So we've only got like a small section of the ball bearing showing, but you can roll it around in with your finger. And the coldness, the smoothness, it gives a bit of a satisfactory sensory experience. Then there are these gears, if you will, 3 gears that are lined up together. And I don't know whether the microphone is picking up that clicking sound. You can roll the gears and you hear this rather satisfying clicking sound. And because they are cogs, if you will, they are they have bumps on them, so your fingers roll around them quite easily and satisfactorily. And then there's just a simple clicker, which is just a switch. It's exactly like a light switch, and it makes this rather satisfying click noise. And you can just click repetitively. I'm sure it would be very annoying if you were in the same room as somebody else doing this, but for the person doing it, it's highly satisfying. And then we have this smooth surface which you can roll. It's a circle, and it's got a tiny bump on it which allows for a little bit of grip, but it's essentially absolutely flat and with the cube. So it's a circle and you roll your finger around it, and again it makes this kind of clicky noise which is kind of satisfying. I don't like this particularly much because unlike the gears where there's something to grip on that helps you roll it, there's hardly anything to grip on, so my finger just keeps slipping on it, but each to their own. And then we have something on another side of this cube, which is like a joystick, I guess, but a very, very small joystick. And there's a sort of back and forth motion that you can use the joystick for. It's not stick-like, if you will. It's a flat joystick, but it's slightly elevated above the cube, so you can move it backwards and forwards. And then we have really simple buttons. Some of them make a bit of noise. Some of them are just a smooth button. So there's 5 small buttons on this last end of the edge of the cube, and each of them have a kind of different sort of click, different textural element. And you just push the little buttons, and it gives us sort of something of a satisfactory sensory experience. So as you can see and hear, well, not see, you can hear from some of these toys, they are very much, some of them only do one thing, many of them do a number of small sensory things. Some of them are noisy, some of them are quiet, and a lot of them are pocket size, so you can carry them around with you. Lots of people from the neurodiverse community keep these things with them. They put them in their purse or in their pocket, and they carry them around with them. My children certainly carry them around with them. And if you find yourself in a situation of elevated anxiety, you can whip them out and play with them in your hands. And some of them might really be a bit irksome for the people around you. Think of, I don't know, when we were children, it was the big click pen that used to drive the teachers completely insane. But it's sort of drawn from that idea that sort of repetitive motion is quite satisfactory. And so moving along, this is one of my favourites. You get this kind of, can you hear that? Wow, that's satisfying. So what this is from Smiggle. It's a Triceratops toy, and it has a string in it, and when you pull the string out, it winds back up with this kind of satisfying noise. And this is a pretty old concept. I think they used to have this sort of thing in baby toys quite a lot. But it is really, really satisfying. So it's got a string and the letter M, which is the first letter of my daughter's name. And, you can repeatedly pull this and get this sensory experience, not only of the string pulling in, but there's a vibration and a sound as well, which is quite enjoyable and quite repetitive. Now, another thing that you may have seen are these 3D printed articulated toys. Can you hear that? They make quite a satisfying noise as well. This one happens to be a dinosaur, because my daughter is a bit dinosaur focused. But you often get lizards, and they are highly articulated toys. So they've got many, many points of articulation, and they're made by 3D printing. And if you've got a 3D printer, you can actually find some of the recipes, per se, on the internet to make these things. And people sell them, and a lot of the let's say Chinese cheap sort of online stores have picked up on this concept, and you can get them for not very much money. This one is really satisfying because it's in iridescent sort of colours. So depending on where the light falls, the colour changes quite dramatically. So this is a T-Rex, and he stands on his back legs upright, with these tiny little arms in front of him, and down his back is a series of articulation points. So it essentially looks a bit like a spinal cord or a spine, where there are lots of vertebrae, and all those articulation points make a really satisfying noise when you roll them in your hands. And the limbs are articulated, the head is articulated, so it's really quite a fun little toy. And we have all sorts of others at home. We have lots of dragons, and some of the dragons come with wings. We have octopuses, we have axolotls, I don't know what else we have. Chameleons. There's any number of different animals that people use the same 3D printed articulation concept for, but they really are quite fun. And they are small enough, this particular one, to hold in your hand and also put in your pocket and take it with you. And it's just cute, besides any other consideration. So I'm having a really great time. This is like, I get to play with these toys and get paid for it. It's wonderful. We should all get in on this one. So what else do I have in front of me? Well, this is from Kmart, and it actually came in a bucket of like 12, maybe, I don't know, or more. It's a whole lot of these little things. And essentially, it's foam beads inside a hollow plastic dinosaur that's made of kind of stretchy rubber. And I don't know whether you can hear that, but because there's air and foam bubbles in it, it makes a really satisfying noise when you squeeze it. And the bubbles expand on the side of it, so you can see the bubbles. You can see a bubble with like foam balls in it, tiny foam balls, expanding out of the little dinosaur's tummy. And it's really, really quite satisfying, and it does make quite a fun noise. Our dinosaur happens to have pink foam beads in it. Surprise, surprise. Anybody surprised? I'm not. And he is a little T-Rex, and he's standing on his little back legs, and he has spines down the side of his back, and that's actually quite satisfying to touch the spines as well, because they're made of the sort of harder rubber. They're not hollow like the centre of the little dinosaur. So it's a dinosaur with little foam beads in it, and also quite a lot of air. And you could get these in any shape. Ours just happens to be a dinosaur, because guess what? Little one is somewhat dinosaur focused. Now what I have in front of me is a really tiny, simple slinky. I certainly had these as a child. I don't know whether anybody else had them. This is really, really small, though. It's not going to be climbing down any stairs at any time soon. This one is shaped like a flower. It's blue and purple in colour, and it's essentially a plastic spring. So it's got many coils, and you can pull the coils apart and push them together, and you can sort of bounce them up and down in your hands, and that's really good fun. I don't know why this one is shaped like a flower. You can get them in all sorts of shapes, but we only had circles when I was a child. What is next in front of me? Oh, well, we haven't actually talked about just plain old squishies. I don't know whether you're familiar with squishies. My children are somewhat squishy obsessed. And a squishy is essentially just a foam toy, and they come in all sorts of different shapes. And they're made of foam, and guess what? You can squish them. This is not a long-lasting toy. They get destroyed really, really quickly. The one that I have in front of me is, gosh, surprise, it's shaped like a dinosaur. My daughter got this one in a kit, so you were supposed to paint it yourself. The paint lasted about 5 minutes, and the foam lasted about 10. So until I had to try and stick the head back on with some hot glue, which also didn't last. And I tried all the glues. Eventually, I settled on wood glue. Wood glue worked. So the dinosaur now has it's been undecapitated, but certainly if you're looking for a fidget toy with longevity, I don't suggest squishies. They really do break very quickly. Now, on the theme of squishies, if you don't want to get a traditional foam squishy because they do break really, really quickly, I would suggest that perhaps you think about some of the other squishies that you can get. What I've got in front of me is a bow bun. And it's like a traditional Chinese bow bun. It's that you have with pork in them or vegetables. And they're steamed buns. And you can see on the plastic steamed bun or rubber steamed bun that they've put the little creases on the top, so it looks like a real steamed bun where the maker has pushed the dough together in a little spiral shape. And inside is something like, I don't know whether it's shaving cream or corn flour, but it's not a very noisy toy, but it does give a very satisfying squish. I'm thoroughly enjoying this. and you can knead it in your hands. This one is kind of cream coloured. It looks very much exactly like what a traditional steamed bun would look like, except I imagine it was not edible. And it was really cute, actually. It came in like a little plastic container that was shaped like a steamer, like a bamboo steamer that you might use to actually steam buns, which was adorable, actually. These things don't last in my house. It's probably in little pieces because it was pretty brittle plastic, but it was very, very cute. Oh gosh, I'm getting out of breath, but I'm really actually, it's nice to relax and actually sort of think, oh, this is something that is enjoyable for me too. And last week or the week before's episode was wonderful from a learning point of view. I felt really, really educated learning about epilepsy, and I feel a little bit more prepared if I was to be with somebody who did have a seizure. But often some of the topics that we deal with on a disability-focused channel are quite heavy and deep, and that can become quite difficult from a mental health point of view. And we are, in fact, people too. And, I find that sometimes we do actually need to relax and do something that is just plain enjoyable. And I think that's what fidget toys are really all about for people, is to something to ease that anxiety, centre yourself, centre your mental health. So coming back to the toys that I have, so this one is super cute. It's a little girl, and she's on a keychain. So it's a little plastic dolly, and she stands maybe 5 centimetres high, and she's wearing a little skirt, and her little skirt is actually a poppet toy. And again, I don't know whether you can actually hear the poppet sound, but these are... It's made out of plastic or rubber, and they have these like little domes on it, and you can click the little domes up and down, and I guess it gives you the bit of the sensation of bubble wrap, and that bubble wrap sensation, I think we all enjoy popping bubble wrap, so this is very much the same thing. So this is like a little poppet skirt, and you get poppets that are just like on a flat square surface where there's lots of little domes to push up and down, but this one has only got 5, and it is her little skirt, which is sort of shaped like a flower. And then on her head she has what looks a bit like a helicopter propeller, but it's a bow, and you can twist it round and round and round, and that's also very satisfying. And then her cheeks are little clickers. I don't know whether you can hear that. So you can press her little cheeks in and out, and she's got green hair for whatever reason. And so my kids just have these on their school backpacks, and they can unclip them and have a play with them when they're feeling a bit anxious, and it's very cute. As fidget toys go, these are around $10, and they come in a surprise blind bag, so you don't know which one you're going to get, which... Gosh, neurodiverse children like to know which one they're going to get, so I'm not sure that was the best marketing strategy, but I guess that makes it sells a lot of toys. So that is the last fidget toy I'm going to talk to you about today, because we are running out of time. But we have talked about a lot of toys, and I hope that I've actually bought them to you in such a way that you can actually access them if you're not sighted. And I hope that you will consider that even if you are an adult, these toys can be incredibly calming, relaxing, and just bring you back to centered. I was really highly skeptical about sort of adults playing with toys when my children initially started getting these things, and I heard that adults play with them too. But I've really actually enjoyed it. It's fun, it's centering, brings you down to earth, and it gives you a good sense of satisfaction. So consider acquiring them. They're really not expensive. You can get them from sort of online Chinese stores or the likes of Kmart and the Warehouse. And have fun, relax, and realise that actually some parts of life don't need to be taken too seriously. Well, that's me. Have a wonderful day. And this DPA Notable Radio. I'm your host, Amy Taylor.
Disabled Persons Assembly is Aotearoa, New Zealand's first pan-disability national organisation, providing system-level advocacy for all disabled people. Membership is free for individuals. If you'd like to know more, visit our national website at www.dpa.org.nz or contact your local kaituitui or community connector, Amy Taylor, at kaituitui.otipoti@dpa.org.nz. Disabled Persons Assembly, a whole new attitude.
This podcast was produced by OAR FM Dunedin with support from New Zealand On the Air.